I think I'm very notorious for being late at most of my jobs. So it's very important that I give my customers an open window of when I'm going to be there. Apparently I do a lot of refrigerators and junk removal, and this is how to be on time and not to be late to jobs. When a customer asks me for what time I'm going to be there, I give them an open window, and I'm always giving them an open window. I tell them this: I'll be there after 12 or I'll be there before 12, but I don't give them a specific time. But there's a lot of customers, especially customers from other countries, that will ask me for exact time, because apparently in their country people give them exact time. Here in the US, I'm unable to do that. You have to understand, when I go to work, I'm not playing with 3 jobs. I'm not going from one job to another job to another job. I'm going from 5 to 6 to 9 jobs on a daily basis, and I'm usually picking up those jobs the same day that I'm working. So it's very hard for me to hit the schedule. So here's an idea on what to do when a customer asks for a certain time. Be sure to let them know that they have a choice, and the first choice is to bring the item outside the home. Bring the item outside or leave the garage open, especially if it's like a garage clean out where they're selling the home and there's nothing inside the house. They can lock the garage from the inside. They don't have to, okay? So that happens to me a lot. The garage is usually open, so I just pull open the door, I clean out, I give them a price, verify the price, and then clean it out. That's one way to do, and to be sure that you can show up at any time. Now, refrigerators are totally different, because you're beating 2 things here. You're beating the time and you're beating the recyclers, because usually when a person puts a fridge outside the front door or out in the driveway, you got to beat the recycler who's going to be there, that's going to beat you there, right? So I usually tell people only put it out the morning of, not the day before, because there's a lot of customers that will put out their fridges the day before, but I tell them to put them the day of, and then I show up really early and pick them up. That's to do it. But you know, that's the way to do it. But I never tell the customer what time I'm going to be there. I'll say I'm going to be there after 12 or before 12. Now, if it's a refrigerator, usually sometimes I can pinpoint it between an hour from 9 to 10, and then another customer will be from 10 to 11. But I try not to tell them. Now, if I'm running late, here's one thing that I do. I call the customer and I basically tell them, hey, I got stuck at another job. Do you mind if I come a little late? Most people, and I'm going to tell you it is here in Texas, just in Texas, and I'm only going to speak for that because I've dealt with thousands and thousands of customers throughout my 15 years of doing this. Most customers don't mind. They actually appreciate that you're coming to pick up their trash. They actually think you're doing them a favor, and they're honest. They're very thankful of what you're doing for them. So they don't mind if you push the scheduling and keep on pushing it out, especially if you're going to become really late. So that's one technique that I've always done, guys. If I know I'm going to be really late to a job, I call the customer to let them know. Now, I know this is common sense stuff. This is like human nature, right? There's actually junk removal owners that don't know that they can pick up the phone and call customers. You know, there's actually people that won't even call the customer. They text the customer and they say, hey, we're running late. I can't do that. I can't text the customer and just tell them you're running late. I text the customer, I pick up the phone and I tell the customer, hey, dude, we're running late. And that way they can hear it in your voice, how you're trying to just be honest with them, how you're trying to, you know, get this job, how it's very difficult for you to be there on a certain time. But, you know, you do get those customers that will ask you, you know, what time are you going to be here? And I say, I'll be there right before 12 or before 12. Well, sir, I'm sorry, I can't be there at a certain time. Do you mind pushing the fridge out in front of the garage or putting it on the curb? And that's when they're like, yeah, no problem. Because listen, at $45, I'm doing them a favor. I'm really doing them a favor. You know, one good thing about doing these fridges, a side note, is that recycling's up, and all you need is about 5 fridges to make $100 these days. It's ridiculous. So, and I have like 42 or 45 fridges at my site right now. So it's really cool. Anyway, but getting back to scheduling on time, be sure that when that customer calls you, okay, that you give them an open window of a time gap that you're going to be there. It's really important. Don't ever give them, I'll be there at 9:30, I'll be there at 10. No. Don't do that, because you're going to mess up. And if you are running late, be sure to tell the customer and call the customer. Don't text a customer. Don't text a customer you're going to be late. Don't do that. Be courteous. Pick up the phone and talk to a human being and let them know, hey, I'm going to be late. I think it's really important that humans react and they, you know, go ahead and communicate with each other and just being honest of what's really going on. You know, when you're doing your your scheduling, for these time slots, I use Google Calendar. Google Calendar has the ability to work for me so great. And you know what's funny about it is I use Google Calendar. JunkGuys Frisco uses Google Calendar. Jaman uses Google Calendar, and Jose uses Google Calendar. And the reason they use Google Calendar is because I was sending them jobs using Google Calendar. I was sharing these jobs with them, and they adapted to it, and now they use it for their own scheduling. So it's really cool that I decided to use it. I didn't use an outside application like Workies or another outside application like House Call Pro. I didn't use that. I use Google Calendar. Why? Because it's free, and it's basically what you need to run a small junk removal service. We're not a big corporation, guys. We're a small junk removal service here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And you know, the great thing about it, all junk guys across the U.S., junk guys Austin, Houston, San Antonio, Washington, D.C., you know, we all are using Google Calendar, and it works for all of them. So be sure to use Google Calendar and have that open window of opportunity to tell the customer when you're going to be there on time. Okay, so that right there is your advice for the day. Don't forget, guys, to subscribe to my channel, tell your friends about my channel, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.